Hey everybody, Questwise here, and as promised, today we'll be doing the review of the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition Dungeon Master screen. This is the original one. This is the one that everybody is excited to see. This is the brand new one with the new art. We'll get to that one in a minute, but as a quick refresher, want to go over the old one real quickly. Again, on the outside, here's some of the artwork on the thing. Not my favorite. I mean, it's okay. It's way better than anything I could ever do, but just not my favorite artwork. There's been some much better artwork on some of these things in the past. Just not a big fan of this one. But what we're really interested in is this stuff on the inside here. So let's get into that. Again, just a refresher. This is the old screen here. Over here, I thought that this stuff was kind of completely useless inside a DM screen, only because, well, this is not stuff you need to reference during the game. Characteristics, ideals, bonds, flaws. This is stuff that's all done at character creation, so to have it on a character screen or a DM screen seemed kind of dumb. Name generator is a cool idea. If it worked well. I love the idea of a name generator, and I always have with me in a notebook a name generator that I've created through various files online and stuff. This one just didn't seem to work out very well. It came up with some very, very strange names, very strange sounding names. So cool idea to have a random name generator inside a DM screen. Not so great because it didn't work so well. Next panel on the inside, of course, we got conditions. These can be very useful. The artwork is great. I love, love, love this type of artwork. I wish we would have saw this throughout the entire game system itself. This stuff, conditions, actually kind of a nice thing to have in here, but it does take up an awful lot of room. This is the whole, center portion of this screen. It's taken up with just conditions. While I appreciate the art, I think that maybe took up a little bit too much room that we could have spared for something else. Moving over to the next side here, we have rules on cover, obscured areas, light sources, setting difficulty, which is great. This is probably the most important part. Oops, let me get it back up on the screen here. This is probably the most important part that I wanted during a game. Unfortunately, it's this big. It's teeny tiny down in the bottom corner here, and kind of got lost pretty easily. It made me look for it several times. Over here we have some travel pace, encounter distances. This is good stuff. This over here is great. These charts here, these tables probably would have been better if they'd taken up a majority of the screen. This over here, the something happens chart and the quick finds chart. Yeah. Okay. They're cool, but they're not something that I really need. These are the kind of things that I have sort of in my little DM's notebook, that I can check there quicker than I can actually do it here, because this is not really the place I'm kind of looking for it for. So again, this is the old screen. It does have some nice artwork of the Tarrasque and stuff here. I mean, I appreciate the artwork and stuff that was on the inside of that, because, the DM needs to be entertained just as much as the characters do. So why should the characters get to look at all the beautiful art? Here is the new one. Outside first. Artwork, I believe, much better. Way more improved. We got this cool giant red dragon carrying a hapless little fellow here. Over on the edges. Oops, this one is not quite as flexible. On the edges, we have the logo, of course, and then the ampersand up in this corner. But let's get to the meat of what's inside here. Things have changed a little bit. A lot of the artwork has been sort of revamped for this, but not bad. It's some of the new stuff in here. As you can kind of see here in the corner is the Tomb of Annihilation face, kind of the corner there. But here's the things that have changed. Actions and combat. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing to have. This is, and it's nice and big, and it's kind of bolded out so it stands away from the page. Nice thing to have, especially in little things like, if somebody says, nobody ever says I want to dodge, but in case somebody actually comes up with that idea, here's a quick little reference chart for that stuff here, and all the things that you can do and action you can take during combat. Nice chart to have. Up here at the top, it has a little, this is a description we've seen in the player's handbook, but a little bit, it shows you kind of how spells, how they work. It's kind of a nice little thing to have. It's not really super useful, only because it kind of whatever, but in case you were ever wondering how spell origin or spell point works for a cylinder, it's there, sphere, that kind of idea, whatever. So not super useful, but not kind of nice to have. Next we have, I'm trying to keep this in the center of the screen, I'm sorry guys. Next over here we have some more charts on things like jumping, suffocating, concentration. Concentration is a nice one to have because this one comes up a lot in the game, especially if you have any magic users, which there's a bevy of those lately, because there's a lot of new spellcasting classes and stuff. So concentration is a nice one to have because I was always having to look this up to kind of figure out what exactly happens when someone's trying to cast a spell during whatever and you get interrupted. Over here is a little bit smaller of a thing. This is kind of linked with the things actions you can take in combat. So stuff outside of combat. This are things that you can do during your turn. And so nice little reference. Again, this one's better because you need this one a lot more during combat. You can do a lot more things. But just in case there's any questions, excuse me, on things that you can do outside of that as well. Next panel. Oh, surprise, surprise. Look, here we have again. So, conditions list again. I'm pretty sure that's identical to the old one. Again, they're nice to have. I really appreciate having the conditions listed here because they do come up. They don't come up as often, unless maybe I'm running the game wrong, but they don't seem to come up as quite as often as this would imply. Because it's taken up such a large section of the screen. But again, it's nice to have, but just kind of complete reiteration from the old screen. Next panel, again, same thing. This is the continuation of that. Artwork has changed here a little bit, I've noticed. This little artwork here, it was on the far side of the screen before. Setting difficulty, again, very small. But it's moved up here to the top instead of tucked way down here in the corner like in the old one, which I appreciate, because again, this is something I use a lot during the game, and having it tucked away down in the corner over here didn't do me any good. So nice placement for that. Again, some tracking DCs. They got rid of a few other tables on here. They moved them over, I guess, to travel and stuff. But they did give you some nice, good things over here. So tracking DCs, which comes up sometimes, pretty often. Damage by level and severity, which I like this a lot. This is a nice chart right here. Object hit points. This is kind of a cool one as well, too. Ever have somebody want to bash down a door? There's what we need. Object armor class again. This one, skills and associated abilities. Yeah, it's not bad. It's sometimes it's nice when somebody says, I don't have any. Most of the character sheets now that printable off have this written right on them, but if you happen to be using a character sheet that doesn't have this is kind of nice. If somebody says, I want to do, I want to roll to see if I see anything, but I don't have perception as a skill, you can just look and see what the associated ability and stuff is. Over here, we have, if I can make this thing work, it's, all right, there we go. My table's not as long as the new sheet, the new DM screen. Not that it's any longer than the old one, but unfolded all the way out, my table's not quite as big enough for it. So, travel pace over here, we saw this one before. Services is kind of nice, quick reference. If you stop into a town, you can easily see, quick how much a messenger costs, that kind of stuff. We saw this stuff before. The encounter distance, obscured areas, cover is a nice thing, light source is a good thing. And then this is a nice change as well, too. So we got rid of, what did we get rid of over here? We ditched the something happens chart, which was kind of corny, with a list of food, drink, and lodging. Very nice. This down here, not bad at all as well. It's always kind of nice to have sometimes when you're trying to describe something and you tell them that it's a huge object, a huge creature. This gives you a nice sort of low reference. But again, not super useful in the game. People kind of get the hint that if you're this big and you say something's huge, they get the idea that size matters. But there it is. I don't know. It's up to you if you want to decide whether or not this is a good purchase for you. It's $15. I think the artwork is a lot better, more improved than the old one. You can get it cheaper than $15 online. I've seen them for a little around anywhere like $10 or so online at different places, different retailers. It's kind of up to you. I'm kind of bummed that Wizards of the Coast hasn't jumped on the bandwagon like many other game companies. And when you buy a Game Master screen, you get some kind of supplement with it, whether it be an adventure or it be like the Dark Eye role-playing game where you get the cool taverns supplement, so that you have this whole supplement on creating new taverns and bars and songs and drinks and all that kind of stuff. So you don't get anything with this. You get basically just the screen and a cool piece of paper that goes over top of this. But $15 is up to you guys. I'm happy with this one. I really enjoy the better artwork on this, and I really enjoy the better charts inside. But having to spend another $15 to kind of replace this thing is, again, really up to you whether you feel that's a necessary purchase or not. But there's my honest opinion. Thanks, guys. I'm Questwise, and we're out.